Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dream Team. I'm Alice Langlois.
And I'm Trent Lenkarski.
We're on episode 24.
Whoa!
Just
24
barely
more,
missed.
24, more like 24 hours in a day to sleep. I don't know.
Oh,
Cut, restart the episode.
we're whiffing it on the jokes this time. We were just thinking, man, if we had come out with something on April Fool's Day, it would have been great to do. What'd you call it? Awake Team?
Yeah, if we did this on April Fool's, we'd do Awake Team, and we just kind of yell, and we just talk about being awake.
Yeah, but
So it'd just be like a normal podcast, not about dreams.
we didn't think of it in time.
Welcome back to Awake Team. Today I was so awake.
One of my favorite awake things that I remember
Uh-huh.
happened to me earlier in the week. I was also lucid, so I could control what was happening around me.
Whoa.
I talked to a guy,
I walked to the mailbox.
and I bought something at a store.
There was no mail in the mailbox.
No way. What do you think that means?
It means that this isn't Awake Team, though.
Yeah, you're right. This is Dream Team.
This is Dream Team.
And we're not awake. We're sleepy. We're yawning. We're getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for this episode. I have a fun little surprise for you
Oh,
for my dream.
I'm excited.
Yeah. But I want to hear yours first.
Yeah. So my brain's been a little bit of a dream factory lately. This one's from only a couple of days ago. This dream I had April Fool's Eve April Fool's night.
Weren't you just saying the other week that it was getting kind of slow for you?
Yeah.
That's really cool that it picked back up.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
The gears are turning.
So this dream I had about two nights ago, and it was kind of longer. Not much happened, but it did feel like it was a longer dream. And I was in sort of like a college, but it wasn't like a college that I went to. It was just sort of like a weird space that was a college. And there was like a large like film class or movie class, and my good friend Joel Haver was the teacher of the class for some reason, probably because he likes movies.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but that was one part of it, and I think there was like something where we like had like a big class discussion or something. I don't really remember any specific details, but then we were going to be watching a movie afterward, and then so a bunch of people just kind of like went to the cafeteria and stuff to get snacks, and I think in the class we were gonna it's like an elementary school. It's like we were gonna get ice cream when we watched the movie. We were gonna get like a thing of vanilla ice cream for the movie, and I was like, what would be good with that? And I was like, oh, I should just get like a fruit cup. Like in the cafeteria they were having like little fruit cups, so I was like, oh, I'll just get some fruit and I'll put that in with the ice cream. And I like was in line for the fruit cup, but then another one of my friends was like on the other side of the cafeteria. So I like walked across and I like talked to my friend for a second about something. And then we joked about something, but I don't remember what the joke was. And I made a note of that. And then I turned around to get in line for the fruit cups. And then there was like a whole bunch of people in line for it.
No way.
And it made me really like sad and annoyed.
Aw.
Because it was like pretty much just me and like two people in front of me, and I was like, oh, my friend, let me go talk to them. And I like got back in line, and it was like there's so many people.
Oh no.
But yeah, and then the only other note I have is I remember I got a lot of blueberries. So my fruit cup had a lot of blackberries.
So you did get a fruit cup.
I did. It had a lot of blackberries though.
That is awesome.
And that was pretty much it. So I was in a big movie class, and I got a fruit cup with vanilla ice cream.
That's a very pleasant dream.
I didn't get to eat the ice cream though.
You know, I've been thinking about how so many of my dreams and so many dreams that we get from our listeners often very clearly identify a task that they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But the dream always ends before you get to finish it.
Yeah.
Like, I've had so many dreams like that where it's just like, it's about the journey, not the destination. And it's like a little disappointing sometimes, because it's like, even if I know I did everything that would have technically allowed me to complete whatever mission or narrative or task, it just, my brain never gets to the point. Like, I guess the ending is just me waking up, and I feel like I see that in the, even if they don't clearly state it in a lot of our email submissions, it's like, I was in this location going to do this thing and talking with this person, and my goal was to get to this other place. And then it always ends with like, I don't know if I ever got there, but, you know, I was on my way.
Yeah. Then I woke up.
And it's like, what's that about?
I don't know. Our brains are scared of the story being too awesome.
I guess so. I would think that's like the main thing I would like to experience in that dream is the part where you get to eat the ice cream with the blackberries on top.
Yeah.
Watching a movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to dream about the part where I wait in line.
Yeah, and get mad that a bunch of people like cut in front of me because I got out of line for a minute.
Right. So interesting. Very vivid. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Do you also have a dream?
I do.
What?
I have something I'd like to show you. I know this is an audio medium, but I brought to today's episode my very first dream journal.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm going to show it to you.
Whoa.
Can you describe what you're seeing right now?
I'm seeing sort of a yellowish notebook. It's not even really a notebook. It's more of like something you'd just like jot down like a to-do list on more than anything.
Exactly.
On the top of it, it says Merry Christmas on the right side, and there on the left side there's a nice drawing of like a Christmas tree. And then it also says, there's a little tiny heart in pencil. I don't know what it says, but there's a little heart that's running and it's got a little happy face.
I can read the rest of it. It says, Alice, you have $25 to use on Amazon.com. Uncle Frank.
Hell yeah. That's an awesome dream journal.
Yeah, this is from a really long time ago. I don't know if this was an experience for you as a kid, but like I feel like during like the mid 2000s, it was such a novelty to like be able to get things on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because you could like buy anything.
Yeah.
And I remember that being really exciting for me and my siblings. And so it was, I feel like now it's kind of seen as like a cop-out to get somebody an Amazon gift card. But at the time, in like 2011 or whatever, it was like a thing where like from my parents or from my aunts and uncles, like we would get an Amazon gift card as a Christmas present or something, and it was so exciting to like on Christmas Day go sit at the computer and like pick out like the new Pokemon game or whatever.
I can buy stickers.
So I think what this was like my uncle got me an Amazon gift card and just happened to include this little notepad that he did a lovely little Christmas illustration on, and somehow this notepad ended up on my nightstand. And I think one night when I had a dream that I wanted to write down, it was like the closest thing to me, and I started writing in it, and then I just kept it on my nightstand for whenever I had a dream I wanted to write down. And it filled up pretty quickly because it's just like a small standard yellow notepad. But to my memory, this is the first thing I've ever used in my life to write down dreams. And of course, there are dreams that I remember having from before I started writing them down, but this is like the first thing I ever started recording them in. I decided to bring it home with me, or I guess out here with me, last time I was visiting my parents this past Christmas, and so I could have more material.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Great find.
I brought that, and I have another like orange like plastic folder of other just like pieces of notebooks from school that I wrote dreams in, or sketchbooks, or just like whatever pieces of paper I've had throughout the years before I started using like actually designed to be dream journals.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're interested in recording your dreams, you know, don't worry about getting an actual dream journal. Just use like your notes app.
That's what I do.
Or a piece of paper or whatever you have near you, because anything can be a dream journal.
I just use the notes app.
Yeah, I usually, honestly, I use that most of the time as well. It's just really convenient.
Yeah.
But I wanted to read this one. It's a little bit long, and I felt like it's not the first thing that I wrote in this notebook. It was the first thing that I could sort of decipher, because my handwriting has historically never been that good, and it was even worse when I was a child. But it is, to me, like a very classic Alice dream, where it's just kind of long and like complicated. And I didn't write down the date. I didn't start writing down dates until like probably college. So I don't know when this was from. I'm guessing I was probably like 14, because I would say probably like late middle school, early high school is when I wrote this down. So over a decade ago.
Whoa.
Which is crazy. And it starts off with, in a city. That's the exposition. It's not even a city anyway. An evil villain is introduced that is absent for essentially all of the dream, but he's just sort of introduced as a character and some chaotic force that is going to be like at some point antagonistic in the narrative of this dream. However, he does have little evil minions that are all around that resemble small rodents, like squirrels or rats. The city, quote unquote, is in the middle of a vast field. It was a single wide road. There were no cars, and on either side of the road were various buildings. Most of these buildings were schools and student homes, because it was all schools, so I guess all students. And this is an interesting sidebar. One of the buildings was, and you'll get this right away, Trent, the anti-Jabesh Brook. And there's a star footnote here, because I guess I have dreamed about this anti-version of my middle school before.
So that means it was like a really good place, because our middle school sucked.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is actually worse.
How?
I'll tell you.
No, I'm kidding.
The first bullet point, there's a little footnote here about what the anti-Jabesh Brook was, because again, I guess I have dreamed about this recurrently, probably more closely to when I was actually attending middle school. For context, I'll call it JBMS. Normal JBMS was a pretty small 2-floor school building. It was kind of, everything was sort of in a single line. It was just sort of like a straight across building.
Yeah.
And
one central hallway, really.
Yeah, it was a little dungeony, I would say.
Very scary.
Just not a lot of sunlight.
No.
Not a lot of airflow. Kind of a
bad.
Yeah, bad is a good word for it. In anti-JBMS, it was huge, and it had a pool.
Whoa.
It had lots of...
This is already way better. What the hell?
No, hold on. It had lots of floors, but anything beyond the second floor was old and rickety. Each step seemed like you'd fall through. There were gaping holes in the floor. Like, if you went above the second floor, it was like an old abandoned factory building type of vibe. Just like emptiness, floorboards with holes in them, like random support beams kind of thing. I could find none of my classes and like no teachers in anti-JBMS. It was not good. Constantly getting lost. It's like the back rooms. The cafeteria had a secret door.
Oh. Don't
really know what was up with that. But
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Basically, so one of the buildings in the city was that, and there was a bunch of other ones that were also schools. And then here's another classic Alice dream thing. I had the ability to turn into some sort of flying creature, parentheses, dragon, question mark, close parentheses. But only when I was very emotional, like scared or angry or something like that. I liked to live at an old abandoned 2-floored house that was sort of far from the road. The street that the city was on seemed to abruptly end, and beyond that were fields and hills, and the house that I lived in was sort of out in that field, completely sort of detached from everything else. At one point there was a village beyond the hills, but I only noticed it once. The road and the buildings were oddly small, but inside the buildings were much larger. I went to a quote-unquote high school, but there seemed to be a different building for every single grade in the high school. And here I identified a few other students that I saw. These were people that again, it's always people who you don't actually really talk to that much, but just a couple of other people I remember from high school. Something interesting was I remember seeing a girl who was holding a notebook, and written on the notebook was the name Joyce, but that was not the student's name, and I just remember kind of having a mental note of that. The student's name was actually Jocelyn, and to this day I still think that's a really interesting attempt for my brain to like identify that person and just sort of getting it wrong. And one of the few times in my dreams that I've ever been able to actually read a word. It's usually difficult for me to read or like identify numbers or text. It like your brain just sort of scrambles it, and that's usually how I can even tell that I'm in a dream. It's like, why can't I read this? Why is this so hard? Why can't I send this text or use this calculator? The numbers are all scrambled. But I very clearly remember that writing of the name Joyce.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever, not to interrupt, but
No,
I don't
please.
think I've ever seen words or numbers. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, it's something that still to this day I haven't really done. And also, something I like about this old dream is the way that I wrote was very distinctly younger Alice. So this is a great sentence. After a few unimportant shenanigans, something happened. I got hurt, probably from that villain dude. I was also shocked emotionally. It happened while I was working on homework in a pink and black notebook. I dropped the notebook in the street as I crashed through the window and flew out. I think in here it's insinuating that I sort of shapeshifted. And I was injured from whatever had happened in the building. So unsure of what sort of villainous thing just happened. I went to my house and hid behind the door and used F3 to look beyond it outside. Do you have any idea what that means?
Minecraft.
I never played Minecraft until college, so I think this was just from another.
Oh.
But it's a common video game thing, right? Just like being able to like basically move the camera around without moving your character.
I think so, yeah.
So basically, I hid behind the door.
I think it's like you go third person.
Yeah. I hid behind the door in my house, and then just like my consciousness left my body for a second, and I looked around outside to see if anybody was following me, even though my body was still hiding behind the door.
Whoa.
And in my notes, I just wrote that as F3 because that was what made sense to me at the time. Which I think is...
F3'd.
Yeah. I don't know. I find that kind of endearing. Because still to this day, I know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
I F3'd. There was general chaos in the city. Kids were running all over the place and dropping stuff.
No.
But for whatever reason, I supposed it was normal. There were some guys outside my house, but I was waiting for somebody else. That person showed up and I let him in. From what I could tell, we were good friends. I had the urge to lay down and sleep. He asked if I was injured or had the villain put like some sort of paralyzing spell on me, but I told him I was just tired. But I remember my body feeling really heavy and like weird. And just knowing that like I had somehow been injured either from like smashing through this window or like trying to get away from this evil villain's like rat minions or whatever. After I got over what happened, I realized that I had left my notebook out in the street and I needed it because it had my homework in it.
No.
Unfortunately, by the time I realized this, it was nighttime and too dark to see. My friend said that there was a night vision telescope-like device upstairs. I went up to get it by going through the ceiling, which was made out of a thin plastic bag-like material. I just sort of like phased through it. I don't know. The device was on a queen-sized bed near the pillow. When I looked outside using it, everything looked like it would during the day. When I found my notebook, some girl was reading it, and her boyfriend was drawing on it. Annoying.
No.
This is another interesting thing. I actually have this drawn in my notepad, and I'll put it on the Instagram. He drew a hand pulling a curtain away from a window in purple pen ink. The girl was willing to give me back my notebook, and she said that she, quote-unquote, accidentally read it. I told her I didn't mind, and I took it back. Just like a very, like, kid excuse. I didn't mean to. Also, it was just my homework. It wasn't, like, my diary or anything, so I wasn't that mad. on the way back through the city, I remember seeing the notebook that said Joyce on it on the side of the road. And then like there's this I wrote this a lot in my older dreams, and it still happens now, but not as often. But there was just like a time lapse, like just I don't know what happened, everything changed, I'm suddenly in a different place. The narrative is still continuing, but like clearly some stuff happened that I didn't either remember or my brain just decided to skip. And I wrote, I guess I defeated the villain dude. And I made an asterisk here that says he surrendered. He was not killed. So I did not kill this guy.
Oh.
Which, how merciful of me.
Yeah.
14-year-old me. But in the process, I was injured again, and I remember it being painful.
No.
It's a tough guy. Despite the fact that I was still wounded, we all decided to throw a party because the villain was defeated. And there was just a bunch of very nonsensical, complicated water slides. Me and some high school peers decided to have a water slide race, and I remember just running up the stairs to the top of the water slides with everybody trying to be the first one down. And it says, I guess I won, ? Ending. I was injured, but happy. And then there's a little arrow pointing away from the bottom that says, in a tree, ? And that's it. Don't know why I was in a tree.
Wait, what?
So I guess how this would be read was, I was injured but happy and possibly in a tree. Which that for such an old dream, I do remember. In my mind's eye, I do have this memory of looking through the branches of a tree and seeing sort of the goings on of a outdoor party or event, and the sunlight going through the tree and stuff. So don't know, even just that little note is evocative of something to me. But yeah, very, very bizarre, very funny, strange dream from a very long time ago. And it's cool. I can still see it. It's really interesting to read my notes and still be able to see it in my brain. I remember a lot of it now that I've read it again. I can see what everything looks like. The house that I lived in, that weird night vision machine, all the notebooks and the drawings. And I even have little maps that I drew in my notebook. I'll post pictures of them, a map of the city on the single road.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, yeah, really, really cool Dream Team deep cut. I'm excited to share more of my older dreams as the podcast goes on, now that I have all my old journals here. But yeah, that is definitely one of the oldest that I've ever written down.
Hell yeah. That's a great dream. I don't know. I don't even know what mine would be.
I mean, I think we had a special episode a while back about baby dreams and just childhood dreams, and I definitely remember some of those, and I certainly didn't write them down because I was very young. But yeah, it's cool to look at me writing stuff down as a 12, 13-year-old and still being able to recall exactly what the heck I was talking about. But yeah, sorry, it was a little jilted. It was honestly, I should have transcribed it before I tried to read it out the notebook. Like I mentioned, my handwriting, especially, I think part of it is my handwriting was bad, and the other part of it is when you're writing something down by hand when you just woke up, there's no way it's gonna be legible
or make sense.
No, exactly. So that's why I'm kind of I like having my nicer dream journals, but I'm kind of pro notes app because at least I can still read the freaking text when I look at it the next day, and I'm what the heck was I talking about? Here it's all chicken scratch.
Even then, I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time in my dream journal.
Yeah, that's why honestly what helps me a lot more than just the writing down the notes is drawing, because I feel I can usually tell what I was talking about if there's a drawing that went with it. Especially maps. I drew a lot of maps, and I still do, because it just helps me remember the dream if I draw out the dream space it was in.
I've never really needed to draw maps. My dreams aren't as exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I mean, I could think of a few dreams that you've said on the podcast where you've traveled, but sometimes they just happen in a singular space. Mine involve a lot of running around, so I think that's why I draw a lot of maps, because it helps me remember all the locations that I went to. Going to this or that building and then running away from it and then going back to it and whatever. But yeah, that's a Baby Alice dream if I ever heard one.
Baby Alice.
Vintage Alice dream.
Special guest.
Baby Alice. Oh man, slightly off topic, but my younger sister's been sending me Baby Alice pictures today. Some real vintage Alice pics. I'll show them to you after. They're really good.
Heck yeah.
Really great stuff.
Am I in any of them?
No, unfortunately. They're all family pictures.
Oh, I just know that one when we're in like first grade.
The one at the birthday party. It's like classic of all time. Dream Team.
Yeah.
Baby Dream Team.
That's where the first episode started.
Yeah, this podcast has been in the making for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Even longer, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We knew it.
Hey, actually, speaking of babies, slightly relevant to this episode's dream fact. Can I lay down some knowledge?
Yeah.
Awesome. I ended up doing a listener question last week, but ever since we did the fact about dream smells, I've been thinking about how we experience the other senses in our dreams, and I wanted to do some research into dream sounds.
Oh.
Because I feel like it's an easier concept to grasp. I think it's fairly common to have sounds impact your dreams in real life. And there's actually, unlike the other one with smells, a lot more studies to back this up. We know, like, for sure that external sounds in your environment can be perceived while you're asleep.
Yes.
And we know this because there have been multiple studies done for a variety of different reasons that involve sounds while people are sleeping, and they can see your brain activate when you perceive a sound while you're asleep. Like, you can see the brain light up, which is crazy because, I mean, it doesn't seem crazy, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of wild because so many other things turn off when we go to sleep. We aren't seeing anything. We aren't, like we talked about smelling. 2 episodes ago, we aren't really smelling anything. Our like muscles, like we're not supposed to be moving around our bodies, like, and touching things, ideally, unless there's like a sleep disorder or whatever.
Yeah.
So really, there's a lot of bodily processes that shut off. So it's kind of wild that we have this one window that kind of stays open for not the entire time, but most of it. I read that, like, you can't necessarily perceive sound in every single stage of sleep, but there's a lot of them where you can, especially in like the beginning and ending stages of sleep, and some of the deeper stages of sleep you can't, but in the lighter stages of sleep, like, your brain can very, very clearly perceive sound. And I looked through a lot of really, really interesting studies about it.
That's why we have like fire alarms.
Exactly.
Because you can't smell the smoke or the fire.
Exactly.
But you can hear the beep, beep, beep.
No, you're so right.
Sorry if that's a spoiler, if that is brought up.
No, it's actually a really good segue. Most of the sounds, so like it's also not just any sound that we're perceiving when we're dreaming or asleep. It's specifically like non-ambient sounds, if that makes sense. And not even just non-ambient sounds. We have different like rates of reacting to sounds while asleep depending on if they're like human vocalizations or not. So we're like a lot more likely to react to hearing a voice than hearing a non-vocal sound. And we're also really sensitive to vocal noises that are like evocative of a certain emotion, like anger or fear.
Oh.
There was a study that I looked at where they like, while people were sleeping, they would play recordings of like human vocalizations, like not specific words, like kind of like nonsense, but like human sounds, like coming from a person.
Right.
And then they would play sounds that were like acoustically similar, like at the same pitch and at the same volume, but were not made by a person.
I see what you mean.
And even
yeah.
though those sounds were also sort of like the same kind of like tone and were the same sort of abruptness, people's sleeping brains didn't react to them the same way. Because we're like
Whoa.
hyper attuned to like other people noises.
Whoa.
Which is why, like, that's wild to me.
That's really weird. Whoa.
And it's like, obviously you'll wake up for a fire alarm because it's freaking loud, but that's like not a person noise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting to me. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's just like, I mean, you and I both grew up kind of in a rural, woodsy area, and I don't think I was often woken up by like the sounds of like an owl or whatever. Like there's plenty of sounds that happen at night in the woods.
Yeah.
And it's not often that I was actually woken up by any of those.
Yeah.
But like if I heard someone talking in the other room, it was hard for me to fall asleep because your brain is like hyper focused on other human noises.
Yeah. Oh, that's sorry to interrupt, but like even like being here like in a city, it's like I've definitely like it's very rare that I'll wake up to like a helicopter or a fire truck or anything, but I've definitely woken up to people like yelling outside or like roommates talking or something.
Yeah, because it's like your brain is
That's
like
weird. I never thought of
your brain
that.
is designed for that.
Yeah.
Like your brain is evolved for that. And it's crazy too. So the reason I was mentioning that it was relevant to babies, there was a study that I read that was done with babies, like actual infants, where while they were sleeping, they would play different sounds of human voices to like measure the brain response in the babies. And I was trying to find like a easy way to explain this type of brain response. And it's not just for babies. It's in anybody. It's just anybody with a brain. It's called the mismatch negativity or like mismatch response. And that's basically what they were measuring in a lot of these studies. And I guess it's like, again, if anybody knows how to explain this better than me, I couldn't really find a definition that was like super easy for me to understand. But it's basically like they're measuring just regular brain waves, like and like receiving like regular constant stimuli. And then there's like a little something that happens when there's like a deviant event, like a deviant stimuli. And so they're measuring like when the brain responds to something different happening, and it's specifically an auditory response.
When you say deviant, you mean just like different from the norm,
Yes,
not
yes.
like a horrible deviant person.
No.
A little deviant little guy.
I just mean different.
Interesting.
Yeah. But with these babies, they were playing different sounds of human voices, and they found that the mismatch response was most significant when the voices were angry or afraid, or like basically just when the voices were sounding threatening or sounding like they were being threatened. And these babies were so young that they wouldn't necessarily know what anger or fear was.
Right.
Like they wouldn't be able to discern that. But even in their infant brains, like while they were asleep, their brains responded really strongly to hearing human voices that were experiencing anger or fear. And
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it is really wild, and it's I mean, so far from all these studies, the conclusion is basically that it's just like a really evolutionarily important thing. You know, sleeping is a very vulnerable thing to do, and like you want to be able to, first of all, not have your sleep disrupted by just like normal sounds. You would never be able to sleep if your brain was hypersensitive to every single noise that you ever heard. But also, if something dangerous is happening, you want to be able to wake up right away.
Yeah.
And that is a universal thing that, you know, I think is true for most any animal. So these like auditory processing systems are they develop in babies like way earlier than like your visual systems. Like your your ears and stuff develop way quicker than your eyes. So, like, babies have way keener hearing at first than they do vision, and it's because of how important it is for, like, perception in the environment. I just thought that was really interesting. And the last study I want to mention that actually has to do with dreams, I want to read into it a little bit more. I want to figure out more of the specific examples, but it would have taken too much time.
Yeah.
But it was trying to see if sound affected the content of your dreams. And that was mostly what I was interested in when going into this, was just like,
oh yeah,
you know, the classic, like, you know, you have a dream. It's like, I can't think of a specific movie or TV show that does this, but I feel like there's got to be one where it's just like, you know, you're dreaming that you're having a conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden they're talking to you and they open their mouth and it's the sound of your alarm clock. And then you wake up and it's the alarm clock going off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like such a classic bit, you know? Or it's like instead of like, you know, your beautiful girlfriend's voice, it's your mom yelling at you that it's time to wake up or whatever kind of thing. I feel like it's usually used to comedic effect. But there was this really interesting study where all the participants, while they were asleep, they would play recordings of proper names, like Trent or Alice, and they found that it affected the content of the participants' dreams. So some participants had dreams about people that they knew who had those proper names. Some participants had dreams where those proper names were just a word that was featured in the dream in some way, like in a conversation that they had or in something that they saw. And then some participants said that the names appeared in their dreams in a more metaphorical sense. And I didn't look into the examples, but I'm guessing, like, if they said a name like Rose, like maybe they dreamed about the flower instead of a person, or maybe things that they metaphorically associated with that name.
Uh-huh.
But, like, these people were, like, fast asleep and, like, not consciously processing these names that they were hearing, but it was, in the study, it was, like, absolutely affecting what they were dreaming about.
Yeah.
I went into it being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, if you fall asleep listening to something, like, I found all these studies in a Bustle article that was talking about, like, if listening to podcasts while you're falling asleep will, like, do anything weird to your dreams. And I was like, that's kind of funny and relevant.
Yeah, people listen to us to fall asleep sometimes.
Exactly. So I was thinking, like, oh yeah, like, I guess I can imagine, like, if you're listening to something, like, if you forgot to turn off your podcast and it just keeps auto-playing while you're falling asleep, that person's voice might become a character in your dream as you're starting to dream, or what they're saying might influence what's happening. Like, that feels totally plausible to me, and it seems like this study kind of is in agreement with that.
Heck yeah.
And I guess it is more likely to happen when you're falling asleep or coming out of sleep, as opposed to, like, being in the middle of it. But it is possible.
So we should just start saying people's names.
Maybe.
In the off chance that they're asleep. Or making, like, scared noises.
Or angry noises. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, what would be a not a weird and awful thing to do to our listeners if they're sleeping right now. What should we try to manifest?
Help!
Trent!
Sorry, I had to.
How about, like...
I'm safe! I'm safe!
Maybe we can make them have that dream that you had that was, like, 1,000 bears or something.
Oh my god, there's so many bears.
Bears.
Help,
bears,
there's a bear.
Bears. There's so many
There's
bears.
There's 8,000 bears running back and forth
everywhere.
so fast.
There's so many bears.
Bears so fast. Bears so fast. That was me doing an alarm clock sound.
All right, maybe in the next 2 weeks we'll get some submissions being like, I had a dream about a bear. I don't know why. All according to plan. But yeah, that's my dream fact. You can hear sounds while you sleep. You're supposed to hear sounds while you sleep. It's evolution. It's for your own safety.
Yes.
And sometimes sounds can mess with what you dream about. Do you want to go into the submissions?
Yeah.
We got a lot of really cool new faces in the inbox this week.
Oh, heck yeah. The inbox was overflowing.
Absolutely.
Or just like normal flowing.
Yeah, I mean, the floodgates weren't completely out of control, but we were getting more than usual, so I was happy to see some new names and some new dreams. I was thinking we could split up this first one. We got 2 dreams that go together because they're a recurring dream, and I was wondering if you'd like to read the first one and I could read the second one.
Okay.
From Alex. I will say the first dream that Alex sent does involve a wee bit of gun violence, but nothing crazy.
Good to know. All right. So Alex writes, "Good evening, Trent and Alice. Today I'm going to tell you about a reoccurring dream I had when I was about 12 years old. I'm 22, about to turn 23, and I remember the dreams extremely well to this day." Dream Machine.
See, I told you.
Dream Machine 1. Yeah. Dream Machine 1. I wake up in my bed to an extremely loud boom in the living room. The boom is followed by frantic, confused screaming from my entire family. I rush out to the living room and see my family crowded around a 7-foot arcade-looking machine with the words Dream Machine on top. The screen turns on and a Dream Picker interface pops up. First, my dad approaches the machine, quickly picks a dream, and presses start. Then he faints onto the hardwood floor. My mom does the same thing. Then my 6-year-old sister. Then my cat. With my entire family fainted onto the floor, I approach the dream machine. Using the joystick and buttons, I go to the Favorites tab, and I select the number 1 rated dream. I press start, then I get woozy, and my entire body weight then slams onto the living room floor. I wake up in the woods. Tall oak trees surround me. I see a white building through the trees and begin walking toward it. I notice the building is a breakfast restaurant, still in the middle of the woods. I go inside, talk to the hostess, and I begin to be seated. The hostess takes me upstairs, and I see my friend Suleiman sitting at a table alone. I rush toward him and sit across from him. Shortly after I sit down, he receives 2 sunny side-up eggs on a pristine white plate and a green sauce on top. I realize the sauce is actually poison.
No!
I smack the fork out of Suleiman's hand and start screaming. The FBI then rushes in, points guns at Suleiman. We then jump out of the window onto the dirt. As I stand up, I see my friend Cameron, but he's about 10 feet tall and has a lot of guns. He gives Suleiman and I a gun, and we start to fend off the FBI. Just as we're getting overwhelmed, a small flying saucer comes down, and out comes my dad in nothing but his underwear. "Come on, get in. I'm getting us out of here," he screams. I jump in, and I watch my friends get captured by the FBI as we fly away. No. I then see us flying over the ocean. I see that we're flying right towards a giant brick wall. I tell my dad to stop, but he just spurts some gibberish at me. I press the eject button, and I start skydiving down into the water. Suddenly, a giant ring-like structure emerges from the water. I land on it, and aliens start emerging from the structure. They then start blasting me with their laser guns. I'm quickly overwhelmed, and that's when I wake up in real life.
Everyone's after you.
Dang. That is definitely quite a dream machine.
It's sort of Inception-y, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or almost like entering a lobby before having an actual dream.
Yeah, and then I don't know if the dad is also in his dream.
Yeah, like did he pick a dream? Did he
Did
pick a dream where he was like in his underwear operating a flying saucer and then like was able to like locate you?
Yeah, like captured by aliens.
Or was it just your dream version of your dad?
Whoa.
I don't know. I love this one. It's such a like classic,
Yeah.
like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then everybody was fighting each other, and I don't know what's going on.
That rocks. And my friend's 10 feet tall.
And has a lot of guns.
He has lots of gun. Yeah.
And then like first of all, the FBI are out there shooting at you, and then you finally get away. Just have a bunch of aliens start shooting at you.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Ain't that just the way?
Yeah. But wait, there's more.
Uh-oh.
Can I read to you Dream Machine 2?
Of course.
All right. The second dream machine dream happened as I was spending the night at my grandpa's house, less than a year after the first dream machine dream. Say that 5 times fast. I wake up and I hear a loud boom, just like last time. I hear my 85-year-old grandpa screaming at the top of his lungs. I go into the living room and I see him screaming at the TV. The news is turned on and it says that an intergalactic meteorite has crashed at my grandpa's house. I see the giant hole in the ceiling and I rush down into the basement to see what it is. Once I'm in the basement, I see it. The dream machine. I sprint to the machine and try to choose a dream. I am then violently blown back and shot into a concrete wall. Dazed, I hear a voice. This is God. You are not ready for the dream machine. Your time will come. You must be patient. I have not had a dream machine dream since. Over a decade later, I am still waiting for God to give me access to the dream machine. I say that with a bit of sarcasm since I am not religious. For real though, I really want to have another dream machine dream. I must be patient. Hope you guys enjoyed those dreams. It means a lot to me. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
I can't. I love that one. This is God. You can't do this right now. Try again later.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh man. Off the air, can you put some like reverb on my voice when I'm God?
Yeah, sure.
I think that would be so funny.
Yeah, I'll do that. Trent, editing this, make sure to do that.
Hey Trent, can you put some
Thanks, dude.
cool reverb on the part where I'm God? Thanks, Alice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey Trent, this part's gonna be too long. This bit's over. I
really hope that Alex has another dream machine dream though. I feel bad that it's been so long.
Yeah. I know, that's crazy. I want to have one.
I know. I want to try the dream machine cuz it sounds like
my turn to use the dream machine.
I know. My mom says it's my turn to use the dream machine.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of wild that you got to use it once and then the second time God was like, "Hey, you're not ready." I wonder if it was because the first dream was so violent, if it just it kind of got out of control and everybody was kind of trying to get you, and he was like, I don't know if you're ready to handle this. I don't know. Maybe the dream machine dreams are really intense or something.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
That's what I think. You got to use the dream machine on accident.
Whoa. I think you're right. Man, that's so cool. I love the dream machine. I want it to be real.
Me too. Maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe Alex isn't ready for it yet, but maybe I'm ready, or maybe you.
I'm ready.
I feel like I could handle it. I feel like I'm a good dreamer.
Maybe I can't handle it.
I think I could do it.
I think you could.
I think I could fight aliens and the FBI and stuff. I feel like in a lot of my dreams I'm fighting somebody or trying to run away from some evil organization.
Yeah, and you're good at shape-shifting.
Maybe that's what I've been training for. Maybe I'm having all these crazy dreams because I'm training to be able to use the dream machine.
Maybe.
Do you want to read one more short one for me?
Yeah. This dream comes from Artificial Mayo. And Artificial Mayo writes, if you ever want to turbocharge your internal landscape, get really into hiking. Almost all of my dreams involve mountainous or otherwise beautiful landscapes. I've dreamt of giant lakes in mountainous valleys with castles on the shores, etc. Since you live in Cali, I think that's directed at me, I suggest you take yourself out to Kings Canyon this instant and go backpacking.
All right, get packing.
All right, I'll do that.
I'll wait here and you can just come back when you're done.
Okay. One specific dream I had recently was a rock climbing dream. I was climbing in sneakers up to the top of a cliff, grabbing onto different holds and placing my feet right. After I reached the top, it was evening at a swanky party. Everyone was dressed well. There was champagne. I poked my head through a curtain of beads, and a beautiful woman was dancing in a kind of hookah den room. Thanks for the good content, Trent and friend. I'm a fan of the streams. Artificial Mayo. Thank you, Artificial Mayo.
So cool. I want to go to a fancy mountain party.
You have to climb a cliff to get to it, though.
I would be willing to do that. I also feel like as somebody who hikes a lot, I would agree with Artificial Mayo that the more cool places you see, the more cool places you're likely to dream about.
Yeah. The more you see, the more you dream.
Put that on a shirt.
Okay. Dream Team merch.
Coming
at some point.
Coming soon. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Someday.
Maybe. That would be cool.
Well, thank you everybody who sent in submissions this week. I still have a couple to go through for the next few episodes. Keep them coming. Ooh. If you have dreams, new or old,
yes,
please send them to us. You can send them to dreamteampodcastsubmissions@gmail.com. If you have questions about dreams, if you have dream facts you're curious about, dream urban myths or legends, comments, just want to say hi, send us an email or shoot us a DM on our Instagram, which is at Dream Team with Alice and Trent on Instagram.
Yeah.
We put pictures, drawings that people send us, other visual aids. I'll post some pictures of my...
No, there's mischief. No.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. It's getting intense back there. My cat is very, very into going to bed on time. She, unofficial Dream Team mascot, she's all about going to sleep and dreaming. So when that doesn't happen at the right time, she gets...
pissed.
Just rambunctious, diabolical even.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of us who can't see what's going on, she's currently systematically knocking down all of my precious belongings off of my dresser one by one. Oh, there goes another one. Oh yeah. Yeah, systematically.
Oh, something behind your dresser.
Yeah. I know we don't usually plug things, but so I don't know when this episode is coming out, but on Friday, April 12th, I have a new film coming out that features your favorite co-host, Trent Linkarski,
Yay.
on my YouTube channel. So hit me up, like and subscribe.
Watch it.
I will be teasing it all throughout the week before on my Instagram and TikTok. So I don't usually post stuff on my YouTube, so this is a once in a lifetime event. And
not once in a lifetime.
One of many wonderful and wacky collaborations that Trent and I have done together. I'm very excited for this one. I think it will be good. Yeah.
You have to go to the Alice Langley's YouTube channel.
The Alice Langley's YouTube channel, yeah.
Which, no matter where you're listening to this or watching it, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, it is listed in the little description of every episode.
Yes, and check out Trent's streams if that's not how you got here.
Yes, or my videos too.
Yes, and his videos. If you're listening to this on YouTube, leave us a comment or a like or a subscribe. If you're listening to this on Spotify, a rating or a review. Apple Podcasts, a rating or a review. It's super helpful. We love knowing what you think and just hearing from you guys. So
yeah,
until next time, we hope that you sleep well and possibly dream of bears. Or maybe just the lovely calming sounds of us talking to you and telling you about our weird dreams.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in.
Good night.
Good night.
What's up, baby? Can you be quiet? You're just yelling at the wall?
Ah!
Okay, well, I'm trying to read something. Can you just be quiet for a few more minutes?